Holly and welcome back to H&R Fam. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a story time about how I found out I was pregnant after a miscarriage and so soon after a miscarriage. If you don't know, I was supposed to be 12 weeks along with my first pregnancy, had some spotting, was told it was normal. Turned out at my 12-week ultrasound, which was my first ultrasound because my original doctor didn't give me an early scan ultrasound at 7 or 6 or 8 weeks. So my first ultrasound was at this 12 weeks and I had spotting. I was passing tissue and I was told it was normal and nothing was ever checked. The heartbeat was never trying to be found. Nothing was happening, and that was solely on this doctor's fault. So it wasn't long after at my 12-week scan that there was nothing there. They could not find anything, but I was still getting a positive pregnancy test. So they didn't know if I was still having those hormone levels, HCG levels, from my previous pregnancy that I did miscarry, or if it was a new pregnancy. It is something that they will check for, at least once I switched doctors and stuff, they checked for. And please excuse my face, I'm having a breakout, and that has to come with pregnancy, and I'm not one who wears makeup, so I'm sorry that it looks like a rabid beast went crazy on my face, but that is what is going to be there. Anyways, currently today I am 24 weeks tomorrow, so tomorrow I will be doing a pregnancy update for you guys, but I am just about 24 weeks with a little girl, and we could not be happier. But we found out so soon after we initially got the saying that, yeah, we had miscarried our first baby. So basically what happened then, because I was still having HCG levels, they decided that I was going to go for multiple HCG testing. So every 5 days I was going in to get my blood drawn to test my HCG levels, and then after 3 tests, I was to go back into the doctor and get the results of whether my HCG levels were rising or if they were dropping off. Initially, if they were dropping off, it was just leftover HCG hormones from when I was pregnant the first time. Initially, if they were rising, because we did go so long thinking that we were still pregnant, and of course sexual intercourse is okay when you are pregnant, there was still a chance that this could be a new pregnancy. There was no denying it, but we also didn't want to get our hopes up because we were trying. Both babies were planned. This one just happened at the same time that we thought we were with our first. But either way, we wanted a baby. It was planned. It doesn't matter the situation. But initially, the first shock of finding out that we had a miscarriage was terrible, and then being told that, no, these HCG levels are most likely just dropping off from your first pregnancy, but let's check to see if they are rising. So that initial hope that hopefully they are rising, and hopefully that if they are rising, this is a new pregnancy and we are still going to have that chance, or we're just going to get bad news again. And I don't think I set my heart to think that it was actually going to be rising, that these HCG levels were going up. In my mind, I didn't want to believe that this is a new pregnancy. It could be a new pregnancy, or I could be pregnant again this soon, because it's not very common so soon after miscarriage to get pregnant. But unfortunately, and happily, some women do. And so when I was going through my grieving process of losing a baby that we never got to see, we never got to hear a heartbeat, but we knew it was there because I was so far along before the bleeding had stopped, according to my last period. And so basically what happened is I was going for these tests, these HCG tests, and when the day came down to find out that it was either dropping or rising, it was one of the hardest days ever, because in my mind, I wanted to believe that they were rising, and also in my head, I didn't want to believe it if they were to come out rising. In my head, they were just going to drop off, because how could it be so soon? It was crazy, and to think that, I just didn't want to believe it. And I knew if I set my heart to thinking that, yeah, it's going to be rising, I know I'm still pregnant, and that kind of thing, then if I were to go to the doctor and get the bad news that I wasn't, that no, these levels are dropping off, sorry, but you're not pregnant, then it would be a whole new situation. Then I'd just get my hopes up for something that wasn't possible or didn't happen or wasn't actually, true to what I thought was happening. It would break my heart a second time. And I went into the doctor. He said to me, and I also want to point out that during this time I was religiously taking pregnancy tests at home to see if the line was getting darker or lighter or staying relatively the same, because if you guys haven't seen, I did do a live pregnancy test where the line was super dark, which was with my first pregnancy, and it's still getting lots of views and tons of support, which I'm so thankful for. But I wish I could film it for this pregnancy. I feel like this pregnancy kind of got put off on the back burner because I didn't get that initial surprise of a pregnancy test. So the time of waiting, I was taking pregnancy tests and the line was still there. Sometimes they were darker, sometimes they weren't, so I still wasn't getting my hopes up that this was going to be a new pregnancy. Come to the doctor's appointment time, sitting there patiently waiting. If you know doctors, you know that you sit there for hours, at least here where I live in Canada. You can sit at the doctor's office for 2 hours, even though your appointment was half an hour ago or 2 hours ago. You could be sitting there for a very long time. And so sitting there, once I get called in to the room, sitting there patiently waiting, the nerves rise and you start to panic and the anxiety, because I struggle with anxiety as well. And when he came in, he said, well, how have you been feeling? And mind you, this was a different doctor from my first experience. And I said, good. At that time, I was starting to feel a little bit nauseous, but again, I was so in a depression state and so upset, and anxiety kicked my ass, and I just didn't want to associate with the world anymore, that I just thought it was just my body telling me that, I'm just depressed. I haven't been eating that great. It's just something that I'm feeling nauseous just because I'm nervous. And he says, okay. He says, well, that's because you're pregnant. And I said, I am pregnant. He says, yes, your HCG levels are more than doubling. He says, there's a chance because your HCG levels are at this point right now. He says, you wouldn't be that far along. But he said, there's a chance that the way your HCG levels are, he says that there could be twins. And that initial shock was just like, I'm still trying to process the fact that I'm pregnant again this soon. And I haven't even finished grieving the loss of my first child, and now I have to be excited for this new life that's in me, which I was so excited, but I don't think that excitement really hit me until we found out the gender, and we seen it on the ultrasound screen for the first and second and third time at 19 weeks. I think now it's finally settling in that I'm really excited. I could see a future with this baby. But the initial shock of finding out I was pregnant so soon after miscarriage was beyond words. There were so many emotions going through my head. There was a point of that I was so excited and I couldn't believe it. I was just ecstatic that I have this new life in me and I'm so blessed. And then there was emotions of, why am I happy? I haven't even finished grieving my first baby that I lost. How can I be so happy? I shouldn't be this happy. But I had to let that emotion go. Because this sweet little girl of mine that is growing in me and it is coming in February is so exciting and so thrilled, because I think if I didn't lose my first baby, I wouldn't have her. I wouldn't be carrying her. I wouldn't be feeling her move. I wouldn't have her. I'd have my first baby, but I wouldn't have her. I wouldn't have this experience with this baby, and I take that for granted. I think that I grieved, but things happen for a reason. And now I have this beautiful baby girl in my stomach that I feel move every single day, that I get to feel, that I get to see on ultrasound, that I get to hear the heartbeat too every time I go to the doctor. It is so surreal, and it sucks that I never got to experience that with my first baby. But I've kind of had to let that go. I always remember my first baby, even though I never got to see it or hear it or feel it. It is something very special to me that I'm never gonna let go or forget, that I did hold that child for a very short period of time. But in a way, I am so thankful that I get to experience this with this baby. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have this little girl with me right now. I wouldn't be hearing the same heartbeat. I wouldn't be experiencing it. So that is basically how I found out I was pregnant again, and I'm so excited. Hopefully I have the name reveal up right away for you guys, and if you guys are interested in any other type of videos, let me know down in the comments down below. I got emotional. It's very hard for me, but I just wanted to explain, because I know some people were asking me, and even family members asked me, well, then how did you find out so soon? And once we went for that 7-week confirmation scan, this time it was totally different. The experience was totally different. The doctor's experiences were totally different. It was just a whole new experience that we never had with the first one. We never got to listen to the heartbeat. We never even got a chance to see it in early scan, So it was very difficult, but I am so happy with the life that I have now growing inside of me, and I'm super excited to see who she is and who she looks like, more like me or her dad. And I just can't wait to hold her and one day tell her that, you do have a big brother or sister. But we never, unfortunately, got to meet it. And I'm not going to hide that from her. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for her, because it's still my baby. And whether I got to meet it or see it or not see it, it is still something that I will cherish forever, of seeing that positive pregnancy test. But I never really got to see a positive pregnancy test with this one. I did, but I didn't believe it, because I figured it was just left over from my miscarriage. But anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have experienced anything like this, or know somebody who has gone through this so fast, where you just started grieving the loss of your first one, and then you find out that you have this new life inside of you, please let me know. How did you guys cope? How did you guys feel? I hope I'm not the only one who kind of went through a point where you didn't believe it. You were kind of upset. But then you come to realize that if it didn't happen, you wouldn't have this new life. I just like to hear everybody's input. What did you actually initially feel? Did you feel excited right away? Did it take you a while to feel excited like it did for me? I'm just kind of curious. But anyways, that is all for today's video. Again, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Or tomorrow with my pregnancy update. See you guys. Bye.